Drop. All right, evening everybody, and welcome to EverQuest Next Landmark, the Bazaar. Tonight we have some exciting giveaways tonight. Really excited, courtesy of Brass. And those of you who don't know Brass, you are missing out. She is a very, very outgoing personality affiliated with Sony. Tonight with me, I have Nightangel, our community manager.
Hello.
Mr. Memo, one of my officers in EverQuest Next, and Streeg, builder extraordinaire. So tonight, we have no notes, no cheat sheet, no nothing. We promised everybody we were going to do a first impressions cast, so this is straight off the cuff, and we wanted to wait a week so we could give you some really, really good first impressions. Not the first day, oh, the game's down, game's up, game's down, game's up, game's down. No, we wanted to give you some really good first impressions. So, to kick it off, I'm going to ask our builder extraordinaire, most exciting thing so far. Go.
Running, jumping, parkour, flippity doodah, jumping all over the place. I think it's awesome. I find this game to be crazy addictive. I mean, you know, it's just you think of Minecraft type thing, and I was the same way with that game too. I don't know what it is about it. It's very simplistic. There really ain't much to it. You go out, you harvest stuff, you build stuff. But man, I just can't stop playing it. It is just so addictive. And I'm just like, oh, I can't wait for the next patch. I need them to open more stuff so I can play more, so it's awesome, man. It is awesome.
And no doubt about that. It's been a long time to where I've felt compelled to stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just building and harvesting and crafting and running and everything else. It's been a really long time. All right, Memo, go.
Well, for me, I'm not really a crafter or an artistic builder person, and I have been enjoying this game way more than I thought I was going to, because I'm not a builder or an artistic person, but I've been having a great time gathering materials, helping people out to get their materials, passing on stuff that I've made, to help other people with their game. And, I hear people talking in a channel, and our channel is full every day, whether the game is up or down, all day long. I'll hear people talking, I'm having trouble getting this build to match up and that edge of the tower to match up, and people just exchanging ideas. It's very exciting. And, the only thing I've been offered to that discussion is if anybody wants to know how to build a very nice looking concrete box, I have mastered that. I have this awesome concrete box on my property that, I haven't seen a nicer one yet.
It's square.
It's square. It's flat. Has a flat roof.
But if you knew how long it took Memo to build that box.
I'm lucky enough to be near Streeg's plot so I can run down and continually use his tools so that I could build stuff. But yeah, I have a very nice concrete box on my property.
Now, Nightangel, you're at a little disadvantage here. It's I know you've been living vicariously through your husband. Nightangel is due for a new computer any day. Hint, hint, Phantom. But you've been watching him and living vicariously through him. Yeah, there you go.
Back there. I have.
So, what do you see?
It's beautiful. I love watching the animations. I like watching him run around the world, and I can't wait to get in and play it and explore it myself. But I've noticed a lot of gathering, a lot of gathering.
It takes a lot.
A lot of materials needed. But you know what? It is a building game, so you can't really expect much more. As far as like you don't want it to be super fast in order to go through the levels, so it makes sense. But beautiful game. I can't wait. He just set down his claim. He's got his work benches going and crafting stations and working through those tiers, and I'm like, get out of the way and let me get in and build.
It's funny. Somebody said today, I'm running out of room. I am literally running out of room on my claim. I've built up and I've built down. And if you haven't been into my dungeon yet, you need to go just south of Oasis on Courage. You will get lost. But I was
I'm not going back.
I've
been down in that dungeon, and it took me about 15 minutes to figure out how to get back out. So I'm not going back, man.
I was chatting with somebody in TeamSpeak today, and they're like, well, you should just wipe everything so you can make more templates. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I love what I'm building. I know it's going to go away anyway one day, but it is what it is. So Knight, what you've seen, and anybody feel free to add in, better solo, better with a group. Is this a solo player's game?
So far, I've only seen him solo, so I can't really say what it looks like grouping, but right now it appears to be more of a solo game. However, the ideas and the conglomerations, listening in on TeamSpeak while our community is sitting there learning the tools of the trade and learning the game, it's definitely beneficial to have a group of people playing together and doing this together. But again, I haven't really seen him interact too much with other players yet.
He got lost in my dungeon.
Yeah, I heard.
We're on the Courage server on Oasis, and it's about 95% grievance members. You can't go from plot to plot without hitting the grievance plot. And we all have, quite a few of us have been working very closely together, because some people focused on tools, some focused on harvesting. And, we went from plot to plot so that we could sift, we could make boards, we went to Stregs, we went to Steels. I mean, we have very much been working as a team in TeamSpeak and on the server, because when you get out and make newer tools, you pass those on to the next rung down. When they get to make a new tool, they pass it on. So we have very much been working as a group. And you tell Phantom if he needs anything to come see us, because apparently he hasn't.
He's ran by everybody, but he was looking for a place to claim for his own. So,
well, to me, it's so much better to go in with a team of people, regardless if you're in grievance or another guild or organization or whatever. Just the ability to go in there with so many people, and you've got people who build and you've got people who harvest, and the harvesters harvest the materials for the builders and the crafters, and they craft stuff for the harvesters, and it's just this big team thing going on. And I'm sure everybody else is doing that also, that's going in there as a group. But it sure makes doing this a lot, not only easier, but more of a community feeling, especially in TeamSpeak in the game. I mean, everybody helps everybody. It's a team effort. To me, this is one of the ultimate team experiences you could be in, because people literally helping each other achieve stuff.
Yeah, there have been some resources that were literal bottlenecks in the game, to where you just went from zipping right along to, I gotta mine this and it's gonna take a day and a half. Someone steps in who's already past that and goes, "You can have the rest of my rubies, you can have the rest of my sapphires," and that just keeps trickling downhill to people that need it. And that has been one of the things that shows what a community game this is going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's only going to get better. All right, Streeg, I got one word for you. 2 words for you. Burled wood.
Streeg's property has got the primo burled wood on all of Oasis. Ask anybody out there.
Yep, I'll vouch for that.
I could not find a spot on Oasis for the longest time, and a couple times I found a spot, and then I'd go to pick it up and twist it a little bit, and I couldn't put it back down. And after about 3 properties later, I finally found a spot. It's like it's a little ways out there, and I thought, oh man, it's going to be quite a hike. I don't know. It turned out I'm in a prime spot for burled wood, which is obviously really hot topic. So,
and then a big group settled in a big circle around him because he had all the tools. I'm right up the hill.
Next thing I know, I've got people just running in and out of my building and all over chopping down my trees and everything else. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Look at everybody. It's all hanging out together. And it was like a little tiny city there, a little hub. Everybody coming in and out. So I thought that was awesome, man. Now, if I could just get the burled wood off my property.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a graphical problem there today, aren't you?
They're supposed to be fixing that, but very soon. But yeah, every time you go to Streeg, there's trees in various places that they should not be. That's a common problem we're having now with props and trees.
Now there is a way to. There is a way to do that, and Georgeson tweeted a way to do that, and it's scary as all get out, but it does work. And I wouldn't recommend doing your whole property this way, your whole claim this way. He said, and I quote, "It's scary as hell," but you can select the area around where the tree is growing, hit your delete button, and the tree and everything around it's going to be deleted. And then hit Control Z, Control Zebra, and everything will come back but the tree.
Done that, but they respawn 5 minutes later.
They do respawn.
Chop it down, whatever. It still just keeps coming back.
I wouldn't want to take the chance of messing up my concrete box. I mean, recreating that would take hours and hours and hours.
And don't do it over marble. It doesn't work quite the same way.
Marble, what's that? You mean there's something else to build out of besides concrete?
Concrete and plain wood. I was sitting TeamSpeak the other night, and I was listening to people, and I was one of them because I wanted to get that new sifter, or not the new one, but new to me, the Trademan sifter. Georgeson said at the time it was the best way he found to get sapphires was to go to the sifter. Now I understand, at least temporarily, you can find them above the ground right now until they add the different levels. But so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a Trademan sifter and go through. Oh my Lord, that was a lot of burled wood. And I think it was me and about 6 other people at the same time were going for burled wood. So finally we kind of kit bashed a little bit and helped each other. But that's a lot of burled wood. I'll be glad when they go to striped
50 planks of burled wood, so 50 times
100.
Was it 100? I thought it was 50.
Yes, ooh, it's
100 planks. So that's 600 pieces of burled wood.
6,000.
6,000. Don't come to me for math. Ever.
I'm a business person. And I've been working a lot of shifts at the fire department, so I'm sitting here chopping wood, chop. Let me tell you something. You do it long enough, you hear that in your sleep. But I'm chopping wood, and somebody says, well, what type of jewelry are you wearing? I'm like, I'm wearing the +1 Discovery stuff. And so apparently there was a lot better than +1 Discovery.
Yes, there is. +4.
Yes.
+4. And I went from getting 2 to 3 burled wood every now and then on a chop to averaging between 7 and 9 with chops of 21. So it was a lot better than it was. But the harvesting's pretty neat. Make sure you end up getting yourself a Viridium grapple. You're going to need one.
That's a must.
You're going to need one for the mining especially, because you're going to go down and down and down and down. You're going to look up and it's like, how do I get up there? So then you grapple out of it, and it's really neat. Plus, it's a fast way to travel. You kind of look like Spider-Man. But, I went and I was looking for some striped wood the other night. And I like the aesthetics of it because I'm working on a project. I'm always working on a project. But I like the aesthetics of it. So it took me all around. I was looking for that, and I can't remember the name. The obsidian and the other rare that's out there, alabaster. and I was looking for some of those, so I was running all over. And let me tell you something. I have seen some amazing creations.
Amazing.
Really
They're
amazing
awesome.
creations. I saw a monastery made out of dirt, and from what I heard, she placed that brick by brick by brick.
Wow.
And that was pretty neat. I've seen a floating citadel, which has a really nice looking G on it.
The wonton bear from our guild.
Oh my lord, it's neat.
It's amazing. A floating city with a giant G floating in front of it.
And I was traveling. This is all on the Kurd server on Oasis Island, and I was traveling. I went by a mountain front, and I saw they must have dug in the mountain, but then they had just this amazing brick wall in front of it with torches or braziers, whatever you call it, braziers.
Braziers.
Yeah, braziers.
That's not the word you were looking for.
But you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it looked really, really dark and medieval, but it was cool. And before we get into some more creations, we got a couple giveaways tonight. So for our first giveaway tonight, we have a code. Dash, if you're still conscious back there, our producer Dash is feeling a little off tonight. You're still conscious back there, flash that code up for us, will you please? And we'll leave it up long enough for me to see it in Twitch for a few seconds. But I mean, what's some of the cool things you've seen, Streeg?
Big giant tree in front of my face.
Put it up a little longer than that, Dash. You gotta put it up a little longer than that. That's it. It's not right. Go ahead, Streeg.
There have been a few cool things out there that I have seen, and contrary to what Steele says about me being a builder, I am not a builder.
Lies.
I build crafting stations and tools, but when it comes to buildings, I got my 2 giant round towers, and I'm pretty dang impressed I was able to do that. So that's about as good as I get. It's nothing compared to what is out there.
Yeah, I got to listen to you try and build those for 2 days.
Yes.
Trying to get them sides and lines matched up. And I'm thinking, hey, if you'd have built a concrete box, you wouldn't be having these problems.
The worst part was trying to do the spiral staircase up the center of them. And I tell you, it was something else. So I was happy with what I got. But again, if you look at the other places that are out there, they put me to shame. So.
Oh, man, I saw this. I was going toward the south end of the island, and I saw this just amazing castle, and I thought I've done a pretty decent job on a castle. Dash, if you want to show that. But this other guy, he put mine to shame. It was really, really amazing. I've got castle envy.
I don't know. For me, the Star Destroyer. We had someone build a Star Destroyer. That is wicked. I'm kind of a Star Wars nerd fanboy.
Yeah, there you can see the castle that I've been spending time on. But in the background, what is even cooler is the floating citadel that Wonton Bear did, and that is Haomid, and that is really, really cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Steele, I'm pretty impressed, man. It's been a while since I've been to your place. You've come a long way there, man.
You still need to do something with that door.
Holy
that
crap.
Door is just too plain. It doesn't match the rest of the castle.
It sits too close to the boundary. I can't do a thing with it. I was lucky to cut a hole in it.
At least make some, do some ornate stuff around the sides of it, because it just looks like, well, here's the garage door. Or
I got to figure out something, and this is all part of alpha. It's if you get close to where you're building right on your claim boundary,
it's
things
tough.
get a little buggy, disappear. It's kind of tough, but this is all part of alpha right now. This is why they've opened it up to everybody to get in there. As you can see, that hasn't hindered me one bit.
Your place is awesome.
It is.
But that is awesome. But some of these things that people are doing, they at the live cast last night, they showed a guy who had been working with arches, and it had this big, beautiful arches the inside of the building, and it was just absolutely amazing what this guy had done. I felt like I was looking at, literally part of a professionally done game, looking at the inside of this place.
Yeah.
And it was great. And these are the glorious, some of the tools that they're letting us use. The selection tools are just unbelievable as far as being able to fill in stuff and copy and paste and do some really, really neat things. So like today when I made my first arch, and it's rough looking, but it's an arch. I didn't have to make an arch every single time. I made it on the ground, I propped it up, and then I added to it and added to it and added to it and added to it, and I had a few arches, a long arch, and it's really neat. And there's some really talented people out there. What about what Rat did? The QR?
Yeah, he's totally redone his place in stucco too since the new update, so you need to go check that out as well.
I've seen some pretty amazing things also. You were talking about grappling hooks earlier, Steel. I actually saw somebody, I think one of either Amit or somebody had actually posted this picture on Twitter, but they had like a whole like grappling hook park. It was pretty amazing. So like the only way you could get around inside was just if you use the grappling hook, go from spot to spot. But
that is cool.
It was amazing how they designed it and had it set up. It looked fun. I was like, I want to play.
I'm kind of jealous now.
Yeah. Every time I see something, it's like, oh, I gotta learn how to do that. And then it's once again Rat. He did this QR code, and I didn't even know what a QR was. It's those little stamp things you scan with your phone. Mm-hmm. So he's got on his wall this QR code. And you scan it with your phone through the screen, and it actually works, and it takes you straight to the grievance website. I'm like,
wow.
He's like, I tweeted it out there, and I haven't heard anything. I said, yeah, that's probably because they're contacting legal right now to see to see if this is something they're actually going to allow in game, because that could get really bad really quick.
Yep.
I am
People
jealous.
You'd have QR codes going off in all kinds of inappropriate directions.
Oh yeah, people will ruin a good thing every single time. Memo, what's some of the cool things you've seen, man?
Like I said, Deshiva's Star Destroyer, that is seriously impressive.
You know what he's doing now?
I do not. What's he doing now?
Do
we have a Death Star in the works?
No Death Star. He logged into EverQuest 1 and he's recreating Kinos.
Oh,
wow. Wow.
He's hoping there's going to be more claims in the future.
Yeah,
and
I would assume.
He's actually really doing a good job with it. It's really neat.
Nice.
Now, see, the game's been up for... Go ahead, Memo.
I've seen all kinds of really, really cool, amazing things. It's kind of hard to just name one. I mean, your place, Steel, is absolutely amazing. Streeg's ever-changing place is amazing. Rats. Wonton Bear with the floating island with the big G. I mean, there are just so many of them. And then you got Attack My Concrete Box on there.
Everybody make sure you pay attention to the chat on Twitter right now. Omid is in channel, and he is offering to give away some on Twitch. Sorry. Twitch. On Twitch, pay attention to the chat. Omid is in channel, and he is going to be giving away some codes. So pay attention to it. Get your pen and pencil ready, and we're going to keep on talking.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Omid.
Yes, thanks.
But I remember when I started building, it was, and I wanted to get right in there. I knew as soon as I got into game, I wanted to build a castle. Now, it didn't quite work out the way I was hoping, because I'd hoped I'd have some help with it. But then, they're reworking the permissions and stuff. Apparently, there was a nasty bug where if you gave one permission to one person, then anybody who came on your plot could move stuff around.
Oh, gosh.
And whereas you would think people wouldn't do it, we all know there's people out there that would just mess up your stuff in a heartbeat. But I started placing one thing, and then somebody came along. They said, have you made a line tool yet? I just made the selection tool, which just radically changed my life. I'm like, a line tool? Well, what does that do? I don't know, but it's a line tool. I'm like, okay. So I went out there and I played around with it. I'm like, man, this thing's pretty cool. and it's the progression of everything. You got your paint tools, so you can change the color of your lines. That's a work in progress for me, but
don't even get me started on the selection tool. You want to talk about teaching me the selection tool, Streeg? We spent the better part of an afternoon, Streeg did, teaching me how to use the selection tool. And I'm still I'd say I'm about 80% with it at this point, but he's probably spent 2-3 hours over the course of an afternoon trying to explain to me how to use it. And it was not taken. It took me a while. But he was very patient and kept coming back. He'd leave for a while and come back and go, okay, try this, do that. And finally I got to where I could use it. But that was a long day for me, and I'm sure for him as well.
I get a chat in TeamSpeak. It's like, Streeg, come here. And I'm like, okay. So I go up to his property, and he like makes a square, and he's like, did you see that? Did you see that? I'm like, what? He's like, I did it. Like,
and there the square still sits.
And it's a beautiful square.
Well, it was. I have a great, perfect square on my property. That's all I was shooting for there. But that was an interesting afternoon of I'd just like to chuck this selection tool out the door.
Memos.
Memos.
I found out something really neat today. One of the guys was in channel, and he said his daughter discovered this, and I didn't know nothing about it. So, my selection tool's keyed to my 7 key, and I've been having a really, really hard time trying to drag the corners of the little box, the 1x1 voxel. It just, look, I'm a little old. Just don't work as great as they used to, and my hands sure as heck aren't as steady as they used to be. So what his daughter discovered is you could hit, in my case, the 7 key, bring up the selection tool, and then press down shift and drag with your mouse right away. No issues. And it worked like a charm. So you just hit the selection tool and you hold shift and you just bring it up. Don't click on it after you bring it up, and then hold shift and then click and drag, and it actually is a lot easier than it was.
You lost me after hold shift.
I'll make another video on it. This line tool and selection tool, I did those first couple tutorial videos, and now I've learned so much more about them. Streeg, what do you think of the tools?
I love the tools, but I'll be honest with you, I've spent most of my time chopping redwood trees off the property for the past week, so I haven't had a chance to really do an awful lot. I did find I was trying to delete my whole property to get rid of the trees and the bushes at one point in time, and I found if I used the select a huge chunk of my property and hit delete and wiped off everything, but chunks of ground and everything else started reappearing, and old chunks of buildings, and it was like all over the place. And I played around this thing for like a day or 2 days, and I finally found that I actually had to go into the delete tool itself to wipe everything off because the ground and everything else was coming back on me. So I spent I think during the first week after I did all my harvesting and built all my crafting stations, I started building my towers and stuff. In the past week, I really haven't touched anything. I've just been trying to keep clearing those trees out of my buildings for like a week now.
It's now I heard somebody's trying to recreate Kellethan. I haven't found it yet, and I really need to research it because I want to go see it. And I'm sure they're having tree issues as well. But you remember Kellethan?
We didn't like Kellethan to begin with.
Oh no, I know. I made one character, lasted about 5 minutes, and then I went and made a barbarian.
Fall off, splat. You spent 2 hours. I know the corpse has got to be around here somewhere. I don't know.
Now, they really did a good job with Kellethan and EverQuest too. They really did a super job with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this other EverQuest Next player has done, because I'm sure with the talent that we've seen in this game from the imagination of players, that it is really gonna be popping. Now we got about 15-20 minutes left in the cast, and we've got one more code to give away at the end, and I see Omid still giving away some codes. Thank you, Omid. And what do you hope, and we'll go one by one on this, Nightangel, what do you hope to see in this game? Well, I know you hope to see the game. What do you hope, based on what you've seen with your husband and everything? You know, what do you want to see? What do you want to see added to Landmark?
You know, they've already got so much going on. The ease of using the tools, because from what I gather, I guess that's one of the most difficult things to master, is just mastering the tools. But I'm curious to see how, I know they have the player store deal, but I'm curious to see how that's going to manage the economy. And I just like to see a lot more on that side of it, I guess.
Yeah, the economy is going to be big. It definitely is. I'm really curious about that myself, especially the player studios. I hadn't been involved with player studios in any of the games, but I'm really curious to see how that takes off and how that fits into a game that is as creative as Landmark is. Memo, what would you want to see?
Well, this is an easy one. Guild functions. Guild bank for gathering, a guild chat channel, grouping where you can allow guild members access to your property, access to your resources. I mean, that's an easy one. This is a no-brainer for this game, because you're going to get your big, your big buildings, your massive constructions by groups working together. It isn't going to be one person. We see all these people doing magnificent things. But imagine if you had 10 of these people, being able to pull their resources and creativity together. So for me, it's social functions desperately needed.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one of the things they stated in Livecast last night is they were going to allow people to harvest in groups, and there would be benefits to that somehow, some way, and that's a step. Definitely guild functions, ability for guild mates to place things or share things, kind of like property permissions, guild bank. You're right on the money there, definitely. Yes, of course, I'm all about the guild. So anytime, anytime you can do stuff to encourage people to join guilds and make the game worth having a guild and being in a guild, it's always a plus. And as a guild leader, especially the guild leader of the massive amount of people we have going into Next, I really want to see the reason to have a guild in Landmark. We know there's going to be reasons in Next. I want to definitely see a reason to have a guild in Landmark. And, obviously the trading and the helping each other out is paramount, and the building blocks. But I want to see some core functions too. What about you, Streeg? What do you want to see?
Are we talking about things we know that's coming that we're waiting for, or things that we don't necessarily know about?
Both.
Anything you want.
I would like...
And no, there's no lightsabers in the game.
No. Fantasy-based here. I would really like to see oceans and have
water
islands out there, and have the crafters be able to actually make like a boat or a raft or something.
That's awesome.
And boat out to an island to get rare resources and stuff. I think that would be cool. That
would be really cool. Or dive.
Ooh, yeah.
For me personally, it's I like a lot of people out there, I'm still having a hard time grasping the correlation with EverQuest Landmark versus EverQuest Next. Two separate games, one game interacting somehow. As much fun as I'm having in Landmark, I don't want it to be meaningless, which I know it won't be, but meaningless in EverQuest Next. And what I'd like to almost see is, and I don't know what the possibilities are, but I would like to see that each server have their islands like they do now, and that if you want to take a boat or a teleporter to Antonica, Fader, Odin, whatever, that's your adventuring Sony created islands and stuff like that. And then, the outlying islands would still be pertinent and be basically your player cities, whatever you call them. I definitely want to see the ability to add claims on to what we have, or give people permission to add a claim into your boundary. And maybe that could be a guild function, because the ability to build cross claims and build something truly massive and legendary would be great for a lot of organizations out there and a lot of guilds. Or maybe you're just a person that loves building and you'd love to have 9 claims yourself to build your own village, city, or town. Stuff like that's what really fires me up as far as stuff I want to see in the game. And to make everything related, everything meaningful. And right now it's pretty meaningful. It's, you build, you harvest, you craft. Now, I know they're going to be adding a ton of stuff to this game over the next year or two, or however long till EverQuest Next. But I can't wait till they add the first skin, new race. And I don't know what they're going to do with that. Are they going to give everybody an extra character slot? Let you purchase the skin from the station store and you switch back and forth whatever race, or maybe purchase an extra character slot, whatever. We're all going to do it. It's great. But definitely having a great time in this, and I really should get some sleep eventually. So, last thing, final thoughts, Memo.
Don't we have another key to give away?
Good thought. Dash key.
Before we hit final thoughts, I mean, final thoughts for me. I'm having a blast, and my wish is for the social, features to come into it, because I don't sit and play and just harvest or build while I'm not in TeamSpeak. If I'm playing, I'm in TeamSpeak, talking to the guild and exchanging ideas with people, listening to people have a triumph creating this and a disaster creating this, and that's what the game is for me, and that's pretty much my final thoughts. I'm having a blast.
Awesome. Nightangel.
I'm having a blast listening to everybody talk about it. I am. It's actually
you're
kind
having
of
a blast as soon as my husband buys me a computer.
Yeah, builds me one. But I'm enjoying the conversations immensely. I love hearing everybody help each other out. I love the energy that's coming from the game. Like you said, you guys are like, you can't sleep, you've got this stuff ringing in your head all night long, and that, it's like that kind of energy and that kind of excitement for a game that we haven't seen in a long time, and I want to play.
And the wife's
poor
like,
Nightangel.
You've been getting to bed pretty late. I know. You just lose track of time. Streeg.
Chop.
I have been having an absolute blast, and it is very addictive, and there's no doubt I can sit down, start playing, and then I look up and 3-4 hours have gone by, and I'm like, oh my god. I am really looking forward to a wipe. I know some people don't like to hear that, but in order to test out alpha and do what they had to do, they stuck all the stuff sitting on top of the earth for everybody to get, which made it super easy. I am looking forward to a complete wipe of everything and have the cave system put in and have people actually work for that rare materials instead of just running around on the surface and getting it all easy mode.
Yeah.
Once again, stuff that encourages people to work together and trade and do stuff. Yeah, definitely. Final thoughts for me is, I love the openness I'm seeing from Sony right now. It's very refreshing. They're honest, they're open, forthgoing about what they have coming, the issues that they're experiencing. That, as far as I can tell, they're not holding anything back. They're just putting it all out there for everybody. The decision to lift the NDA moments after the launch of the game, I think, was a great move. It was brilliant. It shows confidence from the team in their game and shows confidence for the players to say, hey, we're really part of something here. When we can talk about this, we're excited. We can tell our friends. We can do these casts and talk about it. It's to me, that was a brilliant decision. I haven't seen any other company do that quick with, really the very basic building blocks that we have right now. Eventually, of course, I'm like y'all. I'd like to see something that makes things go, like boats or wagons, mounts, flying mounts. Some some fluff. But other than that, SOE, Georgeton, O'Mead, y'all are Smedley, y'all are doing a great job on this game. The team over at SOE has been absolutely amazing, really has. Brass, thank you for these 2 keys that we got to give away tonight. We really appreciate it, and I know the community appreciates it as well.
Yes.
And O'Mead, thank you for guesting in tonight. It's always great to see you.
It's awesome.
So, folks, that's all we have tonight. Remember, if you're just catching the last part of this or missed part of it for some reason, you can catch this and many of some of our other members' YouTube cast on different games as well at youtube.com/Grievance Gaming. If you follow us on Twitter, it's at Grievance Gaming. And if you're a Facebook person, do a search for World of Grievance, and that's where we are. And that's all we have tonight. Everyone, have a stellar night. I can tell you what I'm going to be doing as soon as I get out of this castle. I'm going right back to that castle. I'm going to be finding something else to build in what little space I have left. I may even go take a look at Memo Square. But everybody have a good night.
You have not lived till you've seen it. Night all.
Good night, guys.
Stay safe. And keep warm.